Hello, hello! I will be showing you how to work with Adobe Animate and also how to connect your iPad to Adobe Animate. And then a few animation tests. We can open them here. So down here you have your timeline and you have the play button here. You can loop and it'll loop the specific section you outlined. So you can keep going for as far as you want. Over here you have keyframes. Over here you have what frame you're at. Right now it's at 10. We go back, then we go to 2. Layers are here. You can highlight them. This just toggles them on and off. If you go here, that just hides it. If you go here, that locks a layer, etc. You can add new layers here, and then you can delete them. I believe it's just like cut layers. Yeah, it's cut layers. And if you ever need to undo something, you just do Control Z. That'll bring the previous action back. But for now, we'll close out of here, go back to it. So now we're at the main screen again, and we're going to go to New File. This is in the case if the file isn't already in the drive, then you would go to New File and then import everything there. For the sake of things, we'll just do a walkthrough of this. You should have this screen up. You can do like HD, 4K, standard, but for our sakes, we are going to use 1920 by 1080. Frame rate is 24 frames per second. This may be set to 30, so you need to change it to 24 or else it'll mess up the frame rate and you'll need to like scale it back. It's a whole thing, so just make sure you have this ready to go. Platform type, ActionScript 3.0. Don't change this. I'm not actually quite sure what this does, but just don't touch it. Don't touch it. So you'll be brought to your canvas. You can change the size here. You can choose fit in window, show frame, show all, 25, which is like the least, and you can go even like lower than this. You could have it at 4% if you want, and then the highest it goes, 200. It's like fully in. Over here, you're going to have all of your tools. So you have the selection tool, transform tool, lasso tool, and if you double click on this with your 2 fingers, or depending on like what mouse toggle it is, it'll go to the lasso tool, polygon tool, magic wand, paintbrush tool, classic brush tool, eraser, rectangle tool, and others. Line tool, I believe this is a pen tool, yep. Text tool, paint bucket tool, eyedropper, pin? No, asset warp tool. I haven't used that personally, but hand tool, rotation tool, time scrub tool, zoom tool. This just, if you press it, just zooms in. That's about it. And then going down here, you have more brush options. You are going to need to select the paintbrush tool and drag this in later for line art purposes. Yeah, there's a myriad of tools here. There's a 3D rotation tool, that's awesome. Lift tool. As you can see, bunch of tools. You can drag and drop them in here as you please. Any of these you don't need, you can just like drag them in here. They'll go in their little slots. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, closing that out, we have the color picker here. You can select any color, you can switch them, or you can default it to black and white. And if I use the brush tool, classic brush tool, there it is. Now going down into the interface here, once again, we have our main timeline, we have the frames you can scrub through. It'll say 4 seconds here at like roughly 95 frames. Depending on the frame rate, you'll get like different seconds here. To add a frame, you go here, that's insert keyframe. You can go here, let's just try and create a bouncing ball. Let me get rid of all of this here. This button is to delete any keyframes or other frames you may have. So if you go all the way to the first frame, you just start here. Let's say ball is on the ground like this. and then we select this, and then you add a new keyframe. You can either select this, move all of it up and down, if it'll cooperate with me. There we go. You can use the select tool, move it around. Oh, also, to turn on onion skinning, the button is over here. So once you have that on, you'll be able to see your previous frames and also your frames ahead of you. This can be adjusted down here. You can expand these as far out as the frames go, or you can just like decrease them, whatever you want. We're gonna clear this out. Make a blank keyframe here because we want to draw over it. Let's just say it like squashes down here. And then if we want to move that over, we can. If it'll let me. Sometimes it's a bit tricky to work with, especially considering this is Adobe. And then we can do another blank keyframe here. If we want to go back to see the first frame, we can do that. It'll show up here. I'm pretty sure you can adjust the colors of this. Let's say like bells up here. If we want to copy this, we can just do copy frames. Let's say over here, then paste frames. There we go. You can play through them, scrub through them, etc. If we want to extend a keyframe, you just do this for as long as you need. And if you want to get rid of all that, if that's too much, then you can just select it and then backpedal with remove frames, just right here. If you want to move this around, it's pretty easy. Just select it, all of it, then, whoops. Then you drag it behind there if you want it. So there's that. Let me go through and animate the rest of the bouncing ball, and then I'll get back to you. Also, just a note, you want to make sure that when you're drawing your keyframes or in-between frames, that you are on the first frame of it. If you go into this frame and say like, oh, I'm gonna create an in-between of the ball right here, that creates another keyframe. So you want to be very careful with your placement, and you want to make sure your header is on the first frame. I made that mistake a lot of times during Sketchbound, and it can be easily fixed, but it just kind of eats at your time, so just be mindful of that. And now we can loop this. Obviously you can add more, whoops, that's looping the one frame, my bad. You can always add more to this, but that's our bouncing ball so far. Yeah, it doesn't look to be that there's different loop settings, although that depends on whatever animation program you have. Sometimes there's a toggle where it'll just play it like backwards instead of forwards, so I think that's neat. That's the basics on adding keyframes, copying and pasting keyframes, deleting keyframes, and extending keyframes. You can zoom into your timeline right here. So that way you're not scrambling to be like, where's the bar? How do I grab it? You go over to this little like mountain range over here, and the further you zoom in, the more frames you will see. And so you can go like literally frame by frame, 1 frame, 2 frame, 3 frame, 4 frame. Probably don't zoom it in this much, but if it helps you, it helps you. You work at your own pace and your own style, so you'll figure that out as you get to using this program. So you can drag it here, extend it, get rid of it entirely by removing the keyframes. Toggle onion skinning on and off with this button. If you want to loop 1 frame for some reason, you can do that. If you want to loop all of them, play through them, scrub back. It's always good practice to just like turn off onion skinning and just like scrub back through this, just kind of get a sense of the rhythm that you're creating when you animate. But otherwise, onion skinning is good if you just need like a glimpse of what you're working with. Yeah, so there's that. And then in terms of connecting your iPad with Adobe Animate, we'll get to that right here. Make sure that your iPad and your laptop or whatever you're working with are both connected to the same network. That'll be important for connecting them both together. So if you go into your laptop's display settings, you would link your keyboard and mouse to your tablet, and then mirror or extend to the tablet, and then that'll get all of your screens here. You should have the same screen going for the iPad and your laptop, so that should look like this. You should drag the iPad onto the laptop, or vice versa, whatever works. If we return back, you can move your, now that I'm connected to the iPad, it's a bit more obvious. You can move around with your fingers, but it's very, very finicky. It's very touch sensitive. So otherwise, just like use this here, or this here. Usually, I think for Sketchbound, I either had... Yeah, I had it in a show frame, although I would periodically decrease it in order to get, like, better outcomes. The undo button. Okay, let me draw this out because it's not showing up on here. So on the iPad, there will be a few icons, if this is the same as it is for me, as it is for you. Hopefully that's the case. If not, just come talk to me. So there's a few buttons up here. This down here, which I believe is the command icon. Then I made that too large, so I'm just gonna lasso tool this. Transform. Drag those up here. Easy peasy. And then do keyboard. And then disconnect. I've already foreshadowed a bit of what those tools are. So there's like three main categories. This just has to do with your, like, showing your apps on which side of the screen or not. Which it's not working for some reason here. That's interesting, but usually it'll have, this leads to either like your apps at the bottom of your laptop going one place or another. You can toggle that on and off. It's not really that important in the grand scheme of things, but it's just something to keep in mind for personal preference. Next up, we have Command, Option, Control, and Shift. So once you, like, tap them, it'll say, hold the key down to set modifier, double tap the key to enable key lock. Quite honestly, I have not figured out how to modify these. I probably will at a later date. For now, I do believe these can be linked up to your keyboard somehow. I'm not that knowledgeable on it yet, I will admit that. So once I find what these guys do, I'll come back to this, remedy it. It'll be okay. So the really important buttons are down here. So we have the undo button, keyboard button, and the disconnect button. So undo, undoes the last action. Say, oh shoot, I messed up. Boom, undo. Same as the keyboard shortcut, same as just undoing in any program. And then we have the keyboard. That'll just bring up your keyboard, which is not showing, but I'm dragging it around and it's not going. Like, that's okay. It doesn't have to get everything. And then we have the disconnect option, which we're not going to press right now because I need to finish this tutorial. But this will disconnect your iPad from your Mac and vice versa, and just get you back to the same screen, basically. I'm gonna stop this here and then see if everything got back.